Hi there, I'm back! I was at the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships in Spain in September and then traveled extensively around Europe and some other places. And I'm finally back home in New Zealand. I'm really pleased. It was a long time away from home. And I just want to show you a few things that I brought home with me and just a little recap after the World. I'm sure you've seen my video on how it all went on the week. But yeah, now I'm back and I want to show you all the stuff that I brought home with me. Obviously there is a lot of advertisement going on, so we got some fancy stuff. So I got this one here. It's a puzzle in a bag, and the idea is that you make the puzzle up in the bag without opening the bag. So it's out of plastic, so once you get two pieces together, it actually sticks together. So we kind of managed to get it together. So it's harder than you think. It's only 4x4 pieces, but it's really quite hard to get the pieces to rotate around, and like, it's a really cool idea, I thought. And once you had it completed, you went to one of the hotels and then got a little souvenir as a result of that, which was this fancy little thing here. So it is a puzzle out of several pieces, and they go into this frame, and then it doubles as a button, or like as a badge, or whatever the English word for it is. So you can kind of put it on. Like, badges was a big thing at Worlds, so I've also got two from Ravensburger that they gave us in the goodies bag. I've got another one from the New Zealand Jigsaw Puzzle Association, which we kind of made a joke out of it and actually puzzled it in the bag like we did with the bag one. So that was even harder than the bag one, but yeah, so it's still in the bag, completely puzzled. That was cool. And then what I thought was also quite nice, they had these stray pieces lying around. So you would just sit around the dome and just stray pieces would just lie on the floor, or like, you know, outside under the trees, and people would say like, oh, you lost a puzzle, have a look. And then you're like, what is this puzzle? And there's just stray pieces sitting around. And then there is a website on the back, speedpuzzle.com. So if you have a look at speedpuzzle.com, I'm not affiliated with them, but I thought it was quite a cool marketing stunt from them. Like, if you have a look, it's a new World Series puzzle challenge competition that they're setting up. I think it's from Mel Townsend. Melissa from Australia, who's a professional event organizer, and she's setting up a new World Series, like a competition for the World Championships. It's next year in Munich, but I don't know when. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool marketing stunt, having those stray pieces lying around. Really well done. What else do we have? The official lanyard. So when you register, you get given a lanyard in a goodies bag where all these things were in. On the lanyard has your name, has a barcode, and then it also has your table number and like which groups you're in and stuff. I never had to show the barcode anywhere. I kind of expected that when you enter into a restricted area, they scan that, but never anyone wanted to see that at all. And you can also see, because the lanyard, people put it around their neck because that's what you do with a lanyard, right? And then when you puzzle, you notice that the lanyard kind of goes into your way and it's really stupid. So you see on this live stream, some people put it on their back just to get rid of it, which is quite funny. But then what I did, I used those buttons here and used the button to attach it to my pants. Like, I thought that was much neater, but if I had known that nobody ever wants to see this, I'd probably just put it in my pocket, but you never know, right? What else we got? This is a fancy tool that they gave us. So to open the boxes, you're not allowed to bring scissors, knives, any sharp objects for security, safety reasons. So they give you this plastic little thingy here. It is non-branded, it's just a plastic thingy with a little spike. And what you're supposed to do is when you open the box, like you get given like a minute or two in advance. Oh, I removed all of those. This one still has it on. So you, like the newer boxes, they only have these round stickers here, and you kind of poke a hole with it and then kind of slide it open. It's quite nice to practice that in advance, because you can't slide it open like you would with a knife. You actually have to poke a hole in first and then slide it open. Like, there's a trick to that. And if you have a look at my video, like my neighbor on the table next to me, like she was struggling quite a bit with that. And when the countdown to start the puzzling was, she kind of just barely finished open the box. So it's tricky and it's worth practicing, so I took mine with me. I was supposed to have 3 because of the different rounds that I was in, but I lost 2, so I'm glad I still have 1. But yeah, that's That's the fancy tool. I'm not sure if they're gonna have that next year again or not, but I heard that was the first time they had this, so maybe they change it again, but I liked it. I thought it was a cool idea. Because I have no idea how you would open the box without the tool if you're not allowed scissors or knives or anything. But all right, let's keep moving. They also gave away these things here. Whoops. There's for the bloopers. What else do we have is they gave away these things here. Obviously everything's sponsored by Ravensburger because the World Championship is sponsored by Ravensburger. So this is a puzzle stand. So you fold it up like this, and then you fold the back one up, and then you fold the back one up, and then you smash it in here. Like Holson has similar ones, but without that bottom bit, and then they always fall apart. So these ones are much neater. So you put it down like this, and then you take the box, slide it in, and then you have a box stand. Great. It's amazing because I didn't bring mine because mine is made of wood, like it's handmade just out of piece of wood. And because I'm from New Zealand and you can't take wood into New Zealand because of biosecurity and all the nature that needs to be protected, and we don't want to bring any natural things that have mites and wood diseases and stuff in. So I didn't take mine to Worlds because I was afraid I can't bring it back. So I was pretty pleased that they provided these ones. Yeah, so pretty cool. Love it. They gave those away. I've got a few more. Nice. And then I have those things here. So this is my seat number. So I'm sure you saw that on the website, on this live stream on my video as well. So you have this table holder thingy, and then your number goes on here with your name. The problem is that the name is really small, so it's quite hard to spot where your table is. So on the first round, Group A, I got an email that told me which table number I was, and it's also here very small on the lanyard. So I knew I was table 168, and then they go in order. Unfortunately, it was the table on the very side where all the spectators are, which is super annoying because people are talking a lot and they're talking about you as if you weren't there. So it feels a little bit like you're a zoo animal and they're talking about you and you're just there, and it's like, look what she's doing. Oh, and you're like, what the fuck? In the beginning I had people there who were speaking Dutch, and luckily my Dutch isn't good enough to quite understand what they're saying. I mean, I studied in the Netherlands, so I kind of understood what they were saying, but it was still okay. And then later on, they were like, one of the Dutch ladies left, and then someone else came in and they spoke in English, and that was so distracting. I mean, I guess it's my own fault that I didn't bring like earplugs or headphones, or you see that other people do that, but I don't like listening to music. So, and I'm used to puzzling in noisy places because I puzzle in the library quite a lot. I'm also used to people talking to me while I puzzle. Like when I puzzle at home, I quite often chat to my parents or to my husband or something. Like, yeah, I don't mind that. But what I really found very distracting is that people talk about you as if you were not there. And that is so weird. As I'm saying, it feels like you're a zoo animal and you're kind of just the freak show, like, look what she's doing and she's past it. And like, oh my god, it's so distracting. Anyway, and then second round was a bit of a chaos, I have to say, because the question was, what table number are you? Everyone's like, I don't know what table number I am. For some reason, I expected to get another email in the evening to figure out what table number I am for the semifinals, but I never got that, and it turned out nobody got that. I'm not sure if that was planned or not, but just before the semifinals started, I was in semifinals 1, so the first round of semifinals. Like, everyone was kind of like, where's my table number? And everyone was freaking out. It was like, I don't know. Like, we were only a few people from New Zealand in the semifinals. So someone told me, oh, we saw that there in the middle somewhere is a New Zealand flag, but because the name is really small, you couldn't read it from just behind the barrier what the names were. So I took the photo and took the highest zoom I could get and kind of found it that way, that it wasn't indeed me. So the second round I was in the very middle. Then I talked to someone else and they were saying, like, it depends on your placement, like what your placement was in the first group, like in Group A. So semifinals 1, Group A and Group B go together and they go by placements. So what your placement was, you double that by 2, and that's kind of what your table number is. But nobody officially told us that. I didn't know that. Nobody else knew that. Like, someone knew that, but you know, there was quite some chaos. So anyway, I got place 15, I wrote it down, 59 in Group A, and the first 80 out of 200 get further into the semifinals. So 59 times 2 is 118, and I was indeed placed 118 in the semifinals, which luckily was in the middle, so no spectators talking about me. Well, I'm sure there were spectators talking about me, but I didn't hear it. And I also took earplugs in the semifinals. That helped a lot. And so from first round and second round, yeah, I got 118 place, which means I'm kind of expected to finish 118. But the difference was, so I finished 77, so I improved from place 118 to 77, which still didn't get me into finals because only the first 60 go into finals. But what I'm trying to say is, in Group A, it took me 1 hour and 24 seconds to finish the puzzle, which is this one here, Lake Como. And in contrast to everyone else, I have never done this puzzle. You could choose between Lake Como and the Circles of Colors desserts. And I've not done any of them before because I don't have many Ravensburger puzzles. But a lot of people do have Ravensburger puzzles, and they were previous releases, so everyone has done them multiple times over but me. So I was quite far down in the first round. But then in the second round, I was kind of supposed to finish around 118 because that was based on my previous group, but I improved forward to 77. So I got the semi-finals done in 49 minutes 55 with this puzzle here. It's Blossom Walk. And I thought that was quite cool. This one was a non-released puzzle. We've just been to Japan the week before, so I was really happy to see this puzzle. It's like a special release for the World Championships. And I was very pleased to improve my place that much because, yeah, I haven't done this puzzle and nobody else has done this puzzle. So it was a more playing fields, like it was more fair, while the first round was a bit unfair because everyone has done those puzzles multi times over but me. I had the feeling. I'm sure there's other people in my position, but you know what I mean. I always find it unfair to have released puzzles that other people have done multiple times and I haven't. But anyway, I made it in the semi-finals. I went on to place 77 with this puzzle here in just under 50 minutes. Very pleased with that. Like, hitting the 50 minutes is always such a limit for me, like getting under that. I mean, getting under the hour is usually quite a stretch, but under 50 minutes is pretty much all I can do, to be honest. Like, that is my goal. Getting under the 50 minutes is just like, I'm so happy with that. Problem was that it was really difficult to say if I would qualify for finals or not. So how that worked in the finals, or like at Worlds, is I expected again to get an email that tells me that I qualified. Something like, congratulations, you got this in this place, you qualified for semifinals 1, you will have this table, it's at that time, you have to show up, this and that. There's no email, there's no communication. So how do you even find out? Like, you go on the website, but everyone goes on the website, wants to see the results, and the website is totally overloaded, and there is like, the traffic is just too much for the website, and there's also no free Wi-Fi, and we're overseas and roaming and shit, and like, I did not like that at all. And also my group A was at 4 o'clock, and so by the time we finished it was like 5:30, and then the other groups came, and like in the evening we tried to update the website again and again and again, and the results are there, but then you kind of slip down further and further, because when you finish there is a volunteer who writes down your time on a piece of paper, and then they collect the paper, and then they're supposed to give it to the data entry person who then puts it on the website. But then there is so many things going on that they might not get around to actually handing in those papers, and they have a stack of papers in their hand, and someone hands it in and someone didn't. So as soon as you're on the website, there might be other papers still sitting in someone's pocket that haven't been entered. So in the beginning you think like, oh, I'm place 30, and then you're going down like, oh, I'm 45, and then I'm like, oh, I'm 65, and you're just dropping down further and further and further as longer the day goes on, which is kind of weird because like you never really know what your final placement was. And when you officially qualify, then at some stage there is this Q letter, the letter Q goes onto the website, and it starts this flashing thing. I'm sure you see it on the website now. On the day that Group A was Tuesday. On Tuesday, like even until the evening before we went to bed, those Qs did not show up yet. So only in the morning I found out that I actually qualified for the semifinals with no official email, just because going on the website again. And in the morning the website was kind of responsive again, but I didn't like the communication part of that at all. And then in the semi-finals, group 1, same problem. In the evening, I didn't know how I placed. So because I was on 49 minutes 55, like just under 50 minutes, Jackie came to me and like, oh yeah, you definitely qualified for the finals. And I was like, oh, I'm not sure. I'm like, oh yeah, you definitely qualified. And then, you know, as the time goes on and the evening goes on, I drop further down and down and down and down. The first 60 going to finals, I turned off at place 77. So it was fairly close, and it was for quite some time it wasn't clear if I qualified for finals or not. And so semi-finals was on Wednesday, the finale is on Saturday. So I actually planned to go home on Thursday, as I told you in my previous video, and it wasn't until like 8 o'clock at night that I actually knew if I could fly home on Thursday or not, which I thought was absolutely stupid. And by that time it was really hard to find any trains going back to the airport, and we ended up to taking a long distance bus at 3 o'clock at night, which I was surprised there was such thing. But yeah, that organization part, I mean, the travel planning is a bit hard if you're deciding to leave early because you don't qualify, but then not knowing if you qualified or not getting an official email what table number you are, and like, oh, just overall the organization I was not very fond of. But yeah, that's me about Worlds. I really love the puzzle. On a positive note, I really love this puzzle. I do not like this puzzle very much, and I do like this puzzle, but not for speed puzzling, because the round puzzles I'm struggling with. So in the evening of the same day, I made up this puzzle on the floor of the hotel, and I was so glad I didn't pick that, because I mean, it's really fun to make this puzzle, but it's really hard to speed puzzle. Like on myspeedpuzzling.com, those two have the same average time, which I somehow cannot believe. But for me, having this as a round one, like just the perspective of which way around it totally messes with my brain, and I can't do it. And some of these colors are very samey, so I've done this 3 times now. I really love the puzzle, but I don't want to have it in competition, so I'm very glad still that I chose this one, although this one is not nice, and it's also not that easy. But yeah, so my Ravensburger puzzle collection is growing, 3 more. And then you see more puzzles here. So when you're into speed puzzling and you tell your friends, and usually the answer is like, I had no idea speed puzzling is a thing. And then they're like, oh, I have this puzzle here that I haven't done for ages and I don't, do you want it? And then suddenly you end up with a stack of puzzles. Like, there were so many that I rejected and saying like, there's only so much space in my suitcase that I can take puzzles home. But I took this one from a friend. It's Merlin's Laboratory. Merlin's Labor in German, Merlin's Laboratory in English. In the beginning I thought it was quite easy because it's an illustration, but it is surprisingly hard because the colors are all the same, so it's really quite difficult to figure out. I mean, you have a bit of purple here and here, but otherwise it's just brown and beige and yellow, but still quite nice, like it. And then, very excited about this one, Ravensburger Ravensburger Crypt in black. So I've done the silver and the golden one a few years ago. That was before I started speed puzzling and I didn't time the time. So I have no idea how I did back then. I definitely did it over multiple sessions. I'm not even sure if I finished it within a week or maybe more. But this is the black one. I have never done the black one. It is still wrapped in plastic, so it is fairly old because the new ones, as you know, have those little stickers here, like this one there. And I think they have that for at least a couple of years now or more. But the older ones had those plastic wraps, and stay tuned for the video when I'm trying to open this the way that they used to do that in the Worlds many years ago. And then I'm trying to solve this, and I'm hoping to do it within a week. I'm kind of having the idea of doing it in one day, but I'm probably not gonna manage that, but we shall see. I'm really curious to do that, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the Ravensburger Crypt from many years ago and me trying to open the shrink wrap with no scissors and no knife, and I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, that's gonna be fun.